in case you have not read the bio, and even my bio doesn't tell you everything, but let me give you an insight. I mean, my name is Rodney Eccles. Rod is short for Rodney. My mother was born in Arkansas, my father in North Carolina. They moved to Buffalo, New York, when they were children. And they grew up and they went to separate, different basketball rivalry high schools. My mother was a cheerleader for her high school, and my father was a star standout basketball player for his high school. Now, I really never, ever really got the full story of how they actually met and fell in love. I mean, my parents, they told me bits and pieces here and there, but I've never actually just really sat down with them and said, okay, you two tell me. In fact, maybe the next time I'm with my parents, I'm going to ask them, tell me the full story about how you two met and fell in love. I've just got bits and pieces of it over the years. But they did. They fell in love. They were high school sweethearts. They got married. My dad actually started to go to college for art. He wanted to be an art teacher. But, his family was not wealthy. His dad was a hard worker. And in fact, if I remember, he worked in a sugar processing plant. They process sugar. His entire working career in Buffalo. He retired from that plant. My dad didn't, the family didn't have a lot of money. And so when he ran out of money, he joined the military, the Air Force, where he made a career out of it, 21 years. He gave his life to this country in the military. I grew up a military Air Force brat. I've been to, different foreign countries around the Mediterranean. My dad has been to Asia. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go. But he's been there, and he brought back stuff. We benefited from his service, from being over there as a family. And I was able to grow up with a man that worked his butt off. Me and my sibling did not want for anything. Yes, I often tout about the stuff that I didn't get for Christmas. Like, I remember there was one time that I wanted this, the Power Wheels. Well, this was a precursor to the Power Wheels, and it was a battery powered a sports car, and it wasn't really wasn't really taking off from it wasn't a Maserati, that type of thing, because this was before they started doing that. Now, however, when I was very young, I did have a pedal powered car. That was a Mercedes, by the way. But I wanted a battery. I never got that battery powered car because it was expensive back then. Very expensive. If you were to make those dollars of then and compare it and put it into today's dollars, it was more expensive than today's Power Wheels. It was that expensive. So I never got it. But I never wanted for anything. I grew up in a household. My parents are still married to each other. So I didn't personally know divorce until I got a little bit older. And after 15 years of being together, my wife and I, not my choice, we got a divorce. So yes, I'm a divorcee. Now, it doesn't mean that I believe in divorce or that I'm willing to throw things away, because I'm not. I fought for my marriage. It just didn't work out. So I have learned, yes, I've started many a business. Some of them have failed. Some of them were successful. Right, so I know what failure is like. Yeah, I've been fired from jobs too, for a number of different reasons. Look, there was a job that I was the top salesperson in that office, top 10 in the country's district of the East Coast. And I still got fired. Look, so I know what it's like to not be able to try your hardest and fail at the job and not be able to do it successfully and get fired. And I also know what it's like to get fired even when you're on top of the game. But I don't hide from any of that. And as far as my heritage is concerned, from what I know, and I have tried to investigate, and you can probably understand, because of my heritage, it's a little difficult to go back too far to find the facts. But I am African American, and I do believe, and I have not done the DNA test, but I know that there's DNA tests out there that can pinpoint exactly what part of Africa I'm from. But I do believe it's from around Nigeria. But I'm also Cherokee and Osage, and I can prove both. Unlike some people who run around saying, yeah, I was Cherokee, I'm Cherokee. No, I don't just have stories. I have proof that I'm Cherokee and Osage. And I'm also part French. To be specific, what we know to be Creole. Which, from what I understand so far from my family investigation, that's how I get my last name. It is French. So I'm not going to tell. I don't. But I look. My mother says that there's some Irish in us in there, and I think, and I have not been able to confirm, but I also believe that looking at some of the documents, I have not able to confirm yet. But there's some Spanish from Spain in there. That's a possibility. But I can confirm the other stuff, the other ethnicities. The ones that I'm working on to confirm or disprove are the Irish and the Spanish. Possibility. But I'm not going to run around and tell you, look, there's slavery in my family history, in my family tree. There were people that were slaves. There were people that came over here willingly, fur trappers, that type of thing. They were also part of my heritage. They were here long before the white man showed up on the shores of North America. Cherokee, Osage. But I'm not going to lie about who my parents are, who my grandparents are, who my great-grandparents are. You got Hillary Clinton out there talking about her grandparents were immigrants, and we know for a fact, based on documentation, that even places like Ancestry.com has come out and said, no, these are Hillary Clinton's grandparents. They were not immigrants. So she lied about her heritage, just like Elizabeth Warren. I don't do that. She's lying. Her marriage is a sham. When was the last time? Where is Bill Clinton right now? Where is Bill Clinton? He's nowhere to be found. I don't know. Maybe he's back on Orgy Island for all we know, or he's on a substitute Orgy Island that we don't know about yet. But these people are lying about who they are just so they think that they can be more relatable. Now look, if she has to lie about who she is, doesn't that prove to you that she cannot and does not relate to the average everyday person in this country? I mean, I love these leftists and these elitists that try to pad their history because they think that by doing so that they can be more relatable to you. All they're doing is lying and scamming you. I have no such agenda. None, zero, zip, nada, no reason to. If you don't like me for who I am, then, the hell with you. I don't care. Too bad for you. And I would say the same thing to Hillary. Look, Hillary, if people don't want to vote for you or like you because of what your true history, personal history is, well, too bad for them. But it makes you look terrible if you have to lie about who you are. It means that you've got so much to hide. I don't. She does. And she's trying to hide even the stuff that has been in the public eye over the last 30 years. Because she's trying to relate to you. She's trying to relate to me. She can't do it through lies. Oh yeah, she's going to win over some people. Just like Elizabeth Warren did. Even after Elizabeth Warren was caught lying, she tried to weasel herself out of it. Well, that's what my grandmammy or mom used to always. I heard stories about us being Cherokee. Really? In this day and age, you're not going to try to find out who you are? Yeah. But she's out there lying about her. Granted, her grandparents are long gone. But how are you embarrassed by your grandma? Look, my grandparents, they worked hard. I'm not embarrassed by them. My mother's father was a Southern Baptist preacher. And he worked in a mill. I don't remember the kind of mill he worked in, but he worked in a mill. He was a blue-collar worker all his life. My father's dad worked in a sugar plant for as long as I know. He was a hard-working man. He was also, from what I understand, a pitcher in the old Negro Baseball League. Basically the equivalent of pro baseball for blacks back then, because they couldn't be a part of the National Baseball League. And I remember him saying, when I was young, telling us stories about how he struck out some baseball players that we know about that went into the Professional Baseball League. He pitched against some of them, struck him out. He was called Big Jim. My grandfather on my father's side, he was a big man. He was like 6'3", 6'4", humongous hands. He would show us a baseball, and he would be able to just about encompass that baseball with his hand. See, these are stories that I grew up with and people can find out if I'm telling the truth about my grandfather. It's not hard. But they don't think that you're going to find out. Even in this day and age, they think they can still scam you. Hillary Clinton was telling those lies because she thought and she believed, I can just lie to these people because they're never going to find out. And we did. And not only did we find out, but there are so many people that still believe in her. I don't. She's nothing but a scam artist, folks. A scam artist. Plain and simple. I'm out of time. I'll see you tomorrow. Right back here. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.